You might be asking yourself why I haven't done a YouTube video in a while, or you might not care and you're just here for the sick drone shots of the villages. But I'm going to tell you anyway. You can probably tell from my background I am not at my old house anymore, and actually if you look over here you can see that it's only partly painted. So we've been moving. I definitely did an Ironman last weekend, a half Ironman.
Yay, Daddy!
And
dun dun dun!
Of course we had the hurricane. So here we go. Let's take a look at Richmond. Alright, we're gonna start out on the western side. Not the far western, like that little finger area, but the western side by this little pond here. And this is the day after the hurricane went through, 2 days after. It was in our area, but there was a lot of crews out there cleaning up. I did see a little bit of damage on one home out of all the homes I looked at. But there were a lot of people out there picking up, getting debris and things like that. If you watch this video, you wouldn't even know that there was a hurricane that went through. We didn't see a lot in this area. We just got a little bit of wind and some rain. Now this is the turnpike. If you've seen any of the other videos, this is, you know where the turnpike is. It runs in between this area and DeLuna. You can see that little truck there that I just circled. That is an access road that goes between Richmond and the turnpike, which leads to the Richmond Pitch and Putt, as well as a Fortress of Solitude, which you see here. That's just what I call it. That's actually someone's home in the middle of the villages. They didn't sell, they're still there, completely walled off. And then this is, we're going east now, flying east toward the Water Lily Bridge and St. John's area. You can see down at the bottom of the screen there is a little access point to the Fortress of Solitude, but I couldn't tell you. That's probably some legal thing that they have to do. I'm not really sure. Maybe they made a deal with the villages. This is the Richmond Pitch and Putt that we're flying over currently. Looking pretty saturated, which obviously with the hurricane going through, you can imagine how rough it was. You can see the Water Lily Bridge. That's a golf cart bridge only. You've heard me talk about that in the past. And the golf cart and multimodal bridge will be further down to the east, down the turnpike. Here's Lake Okahumpka. I did drive past that bridge, the multimodal, on the way down to South Florida, and I saw that it was looking pretty good. They plan on having that multimodal bridge. That will be cars and golf cart access. They plan on having that next year. So, now you can see in here, this is Megason Road. Right here where you see this lovely golf cart. It is not to scale, okay? So don't send me some comments saying, oh my God, that golf cart was huge. You know, it's fake. It's okay. But that is Megason Road. That leads up to Brownwood Square. You can see Brownwood Health Spa. I don't know if it's called Brownwood Health Spa, but that Brownwood Hotel up there in the top right, Brownwood Spa. Wolfgang Puck's is in the bottom. That's a hotel building as well. And then you can see all the houses that are actually built now. This will probably be all sodded out within the next month, I would say. Just the 2 days that they were down because of the hurricane, they probably would have built 500 more homes in here, because you know how quickly they build. This is the vast area of Richmond. So like the majority of the housing is in this area here. And then the rest of it is in two little fingers, I call them. One is by that Fortress of Solitude that we just flew over. And then the other we're going to visit here in a little bit. Now, I don't know what this trail is called, but I'm going to call it Gator Trail, just for you guys at home, because you'll see why in a minute as we fly over. We're going to get a little lower. This is surrounded, the trail goes all the way around lily pads, and there is literally water on every side of this trail. So you can see it's the perfect size and perfect area habitat, would you call it, for gators. And I'm not talking about the Florida gators, I'm talking about alligators. The ones that have teeth. It is a nice little walking trail. I'm kind of surprised that this area didn't take on a lot of water and flood, but like I've pointed out in previous videos, they do a pretty good job of running water from one area to another. It did get kind of high there. You see it almost up to the trail, probably within 5 feet. I probably wouldn't walk my small dogs along that trail if you know there's a gator in that pond. And then here's a secret cove area. I totally am making this up, but this is a secret cove. That's what I refer to it as. If you follow the roads and go all the way back to the far end of Richmond, this is what you'll find. This little area here. The backside, which you won't see because there's a 7 or 8 foot cement wall behind your houses, looks fantastic, as you can see from the air. That is a nice marshy area with a lot of vegetation and nature to see, but you can also see that wall behind, so you won't be able to see it. As we spin around here, you can see the rest of Richmond, the whole area. Now this area goes, like I said, it's kind of like off by itself. It's kind of a neat little area. And none of these areas are really secluded from the main road. There are certain parts and neighborhoods where you have to really drive through a long ways to get to a main road to go anywhere. Richmond is not one of those areas. Richmond is a really nice area for centrality. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it, to everywhere, because you have access to the Okahumpka Rec Center, you're going to have the Clarendon Rec Center, Brownwood, you have the Water Lily Bridge that you can go over and head to the south. I don't know why you would want to, but you do have that option. The Azell Rec Center is not that far from here, probably 10 minutes. And then obviously the main attraction is the Brownwood Square with everything that comes along with that. There's also supposed to be some retail going in across the street from here, south of Highway 44, actually just before that water tower, that grassy area right there. That is supposed to be retail, or at least it was last I checked. And they're putting in a high-end restaurant less than a mile from this place. You've probably heard about it. It's called McDonald's. So the food comes out fast and hot, supposedly. I don't know, I've never been. I'll have to check it out. Really fine dining though. I mean, look at all these houses. Just a crazy amount of houses that they have in here already. I can't believe this. I feel like we were just looking at this area 6 months ago and it was sand. And it amazes me every time that I fly over and see how many places that they've actually built in such a small amount of time. I mean, I haven't been out here in 2 weeks and there's probably 50 to 100 more homes put in here already. That is Megason once again right there. You can see the traffic circle there. I don't know if it's that traffic circle or one south of that one. I'd have to see it. But there's going to be vehicle access across Highway 44 and that's Buena Vista. That's going to come down and go over Highway 44, but the county's putting that road in, so it's going to take a little bit longer than it would if the Villages was actually putting it in. Now this area is actually where the apartment complex was going to go, where you see this little horseshoe looking thing here, the one we're flying down on. This is where the apartments were going to go that they canceled, and I think that's why they had this thing built, is the apartments were going to sit right on the water, kind of like the Brownwood lofts, if you've ever looked at those. And then as you saw, this is the Clarendon Rec Center. You have that outside exercise equipment, then you have the volleyball courts, tennis courts, pickleball courts, all the bells and whistles. This one's a little smaller. I asked in the last video why I said I didn't know why they would make this one a little smaller, but it's because you have access to the Okahumpka Rec Center, which is going to be a bigger rec center with a boat launch and things like that, like canoes and paddle boards. So if you're into water sports, or I guess you would call that water sports. You can see this house right here at the bottom right. They were actually just getting ready to start putting some tilt wall construction up. I know it's not called tilt wall, but that's what everybody refers to it as. So they're starting to use more and more of that. Less labor, less people on a job site, and a lot quicker to put the houses up. This is your Richmond area mail center, and you have your own pool, shuffleboard. There's a little dog park in the back here. I heard them call that the dog house. I don't know if that's where the women put their husbands when they're in trouble, but who knows. I'm going to leave you here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get down there a few more times and check out Newell and a couple different areas. I haven't been responding to as many comments as I usually do. I've been super busy, but I've been trying to as much as possible. So do leave me the comments. I do read all of them. And I will see you in the next one.